Hi everyone, my name is HudatQueen94. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am a huge New Orleans Saints fan, as well as being a huge fan of the NFL. And happy holidays, although I'm pretty sure when I upload this, Thanksgiving will be over with and done. But I feel like after Thanksgiving, that's when all the holidays come up. You know, everybody's super festive for, Christmas and New Year's, plus my birthday is in December, so looking forward to it. Not completely looking forward to it. But either way, week 11 is done and over with, and there were some good games and some bad games. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the rivalry games this year have just been super boring, super uncompetitive, just really low scoring, just, some really boring games. I mean, for example, if you saw the Jets and the Patriots game, then that was by far one of the worst games of the year. Though it probably had one of the better endings, though. Really disappointed in the Jets that they couldn't finish off the Patriots. I mean, to lose that way, in a way, it's kind of like, I'm kind of thankful that the Patriots ended it. Not so happy that the Patriots won it, because, I don't like the Patriots, but, it is what it is. But either way, I'm the kind of person that likes games with a lot of offense, some defense, but a lot more offense and a lot of turnovers. Like, for example, that Chiefs-Rams game that happened a few years ago, though that was more offense than it was defense, because really, who scores 50 points in a game? But that rematch is coming up soon, probably won't be as competitive, but speaking of the Rams, we've got a game to discuss, so without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk about the Rams at the Saints. Okay, so in the first quarter, the Rams get the ball to start and get a quick 3-and-out. First down by Troutman is called short, forcing the Saints to punt. Dalton is sacked on second down in the red zone. Hill is sacked on third down and 18, forcing Lutz to kick a 46-yard field goal with 4:14 left. Stafford goes long for Atwill for the 62-yard touchdown with 4 minutes left to go to make it a 7-3 game. Rams lead the Saints 7-3 to end the first. Second quarter. Taysom Hill gets a big run to pick up the first to get into the red zone. Dalton throws to Johnson for the 8-yard touchdown with 12-11, making it a 10-7 game. Saints stop the Rams short on 4th and 1, forcing a turnover on downs with 4:23. The Saints are forced to punt after getting the ball back. The Rams go downfield on a decent drive. Stafford throws to Robinson for the 6-yard touchdown with 19 seconds left. Rams lead the Saints 14-10 to end the half. Third quarter. Saints get the ball to start. Dalton connects with Landry for 18 yards to put the Saints at first and goal. Dalton then throws to Jarvis for the 7-yard touchdown with 10:23 to make it a 14-17 game. Stafford is then sacked on third down with 9:30 as the Saints force them to punt. A good return by Shaheed puts the Saints at midfield, but it's brought back because of a penalty. A trickery play ends up in a major sack for Dalton for a loss of 13 yards. Dalton then throws to Olave for the 50-yard touchdown with 5:47 to make it a 24-14 game. Stafford is taken to the locker room and is replaced by Bryce Perkins. Perkins gets a nice run up the middle for 23 yards to get close to midfield. Perkins then hands it to Williams for a gain of 17 yards. Saints lead the Rams 24-14 to end the fourth quarter. Matt Gay kicks a 33-yard field goal with 14:51 to make it a 17-24 game. Saints go downfield. Dalton is sacked on second and goal. Saints settle for a Lutz 25-yard field goal to make it a 27-17 game with 9:06. Ellis then sacks Perkins with 2:21 left to play. Perkins is sacked with 1:23 left. Perkins throws to Higbee with a 20-yard gain to keep the drive alive with 33 seconds. Gay kicks a 58-yard field goal to make it a 20-27 game with 6 seconds remaining. Rams go for the onside kick. Jarvis Landry recovers. Saints beat the Rams 27-20 to get their 400th regular season win. And what a way to do it. All right, so let's get down to it. So, listen, not that I'm not happy about this win, but this is what I don't get about the Saints. They're super inconsistent and super hard to predict, that you never know which Saints squad is going to show up. So, I mean, overall, this wasn't a perfect win by any means, but it was a good, solid performance, I'd say. Granted, they did kind of prolong the ending a little bit at the end, but things, and maybe things could have gone differently if Stafford had played the full 60, because he was doing his thing, he was doing quite well, but listen, a win is a win, and games like these are kind of like a tease, in my honest opinion. They show you almost the full potential. Granted that we're banged up, but they show you something, and then the next week the Saints end up playing horribly. So it's like, we know that the team is talented. We know that the squad is talented. Even the younger guys are talented, but it's just you never know which Saints team is going to show up for these games. It just, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense how last week we played horribly and then we played pretty well. Granted, yes, the Rams are banged up and Stafford didn't play, most of the game. So, it's just, it kind of irritates me a little bit because I can never figure out the Saints. But we got the squad, we got the playmakers. So why are we so flaky? That's what I don't get. Dalton had a pretty good game, so much so that I can assume he'll keep his job for another week. 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, 4 incompletions total. Plus the involvement with Taysom Hill, which I've mentioned time and time again, at quarterback, really helped balance out the offense. And overall, I really think that this was Andy's best performance. And, I noticed that there is a lot of favoritism, between the two quarterbacks, So there are people that are that are on Winston's bandwagon that want Andy Dalton to fail and not be successful. So, and listen, I don't think Winston was completely wrong, when he said that, he lost his job because of injury. Because, we don't know how this would have played out had he been healthy and played, more games, maybe he wouldn't have done as great. They might have benched him for Dalton. We don't know what would have happened. Though I will say, listen, he didn't completely lose his job. I mean, if something happens to Dalton and, I mean, maybe DA would probably go with Taysom, but, maybe he would just say, all right, Winston, here's your shot. So I wouldn't say he necessarily lost his job. I'd say, he was demoted, I guess you can say. But either way, I mean, there still is favoritism, and I get it because, at least for me, it just comes down to who's going to get us to the playoffs or who has the best chance of pushing this team to the playoffs. Now, I know playoffs, that's hard to think about right now, but given the division, it's not completely out of reach. So, we like Winston because he's young, he's vibrant, and he gets the ball out quicker, and, he's slightly better in the pocket, but not by much. But, Andy Dalton has the experience, and, he's been around longer, and, he still clearly has the arm strength. We saw that touchdown to Olave, so it's tough, and, you feel for Winston, and you want better for him, but that's just the way that the NFL is. It's just that type of business. Either way, getting back to it, sorry, I didn't mean to do the QB discussion, but, DA called a great game. He had a great game plan for them, though some plays were a little suspect, and we finally used Taysom, and finally got Taysom involved, and the dynamic worked quite well, kind of like it did with Breeze. Taysom led in rushing with 52 yards, and I do want to mention that, I don't mention Pete Carmichael a lot in this channel, if ever. I don't think I've ever mentioned Pete Carmichael. And yes, I'm aware that he's the OC, but I feel like overall that this is, DA's team since, Sean left and he left him in charge. So yes, I will credit Pete Carmichael, but I know I don't mention him a lot, but still, I feel like this is more DA's team. That's why I talk about DA more. But getting back to it, the run game was okay, as mentioned. Taysom led. I didn't really think that we were going to run a whole bunch on them. We acquired David Johnson, who we got from Houston. He used to be with the Cardinals. I remember when he was with the Cardinals. He's actually pretty good. I guess he's our answer to Mark Ingram. Olave had a huge game, and that bomb touchdown was just incredible. one of my favorite touchdowns from him of the year. 102 yards, 1 touchdown. As mentioned, ooh, it is really cold. Sorry about that. It's snowed outside, so really, really cold in here. Juwan had a touchdown as well, so you know I feel like that's Dalton's favorite target at the moment, in my honest opinion. And it's so nice that we finally have a tight end again. So it's great that they're on the same page. Finally, Dalton was able to get to Jarvis in this game, so super happy about that. The O-line did allow a few sacks, but granted we are banged up, so, not much there, so what is to be expected. And the Saints did not turn the ball over in this game. And can you believe that they only had 2 penalties on the day? Wow, that's pretty drastic. So, pretty great game on offense. Seemed to be really in sync, had the flow, had the rhythm. On defense, I think we played okay. Not great, but not perfect. No turnovers, got quite a bit of sacks considering, who was playing and who wasn't playing in this game on defense. Caden Ellis played outstanding. DeMario is always a beast. These younger guys really stepped up. So, the potential is there. As I mentioned, not the best performance that we've seen all year, but, we did let Perkins get a few runs here and there to keep drives alive. But again, I should stress that there were no turnovers, so yeah. But that's, still not a complete winning factor. So I can't really lay into the defense on this one. Overall, as I mentioned, solid performance. The dynamic worked really well. As for the Rams, I would wish you the best of luck, but I'm going to say no. No, thank you. Sorry. Either way, I don't want to get too cocky because we got something big to talk about. We got something big to talk about. Because we're in for a huge test. Let's talk Saints at 49ers. There's a game we played more than 10 years ago, and if you know, you know. And it solidified my fanhood to the Saints. Now, when I became a Saints fan back in the day, I knew that this was going to be my team, but there was a loss that happened about 10 years ago that really confirmed my fanhood, that really really told me that that this is really going to be my team. I'm not really going to get into that, maybe some other time, but so there, this matchup kind of means something to me. So it's always a fun little outside the division rivalry. So either way, I saw that game on Monday with the Cardinals and the Niners, so it's still a little fresh in my mind. They look great on paper. Jimmy G has looked fine these last few weeks, but Jimmy G always looks fine. They acquired Nick Cathay, and he's been doing pretty great. Kittle is pretty great. I'd say he's probably second in line to Travis Kelce. But, yeah. So what are our chances? Well, according to the over and under, not much. 49ers are 9-point favorites. I think that's the most by any team we've played all year. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. Yep. Mostly because, again, I don't know which Saints squad is going to show up for this game. So if we get the Saints team from last week with, more healthy players, it might not be so bad. But if we get the Saints team that played the Steelers, oh yeah, well, we're going to lose. We are absolutely going to lose. Either way, it is a good thing that this game is not on prime time. I'm so glad that it's in the afternoon, but it's not on prime time, so, Andy's not going to struggle as badly as he has in prime time. At least I hope not. But he's going to have exactly the same game he did last week. So, he can't throw a pick. He can't hold on to that ball too long and take those sacks. As I mentioned, I know we're banged up on the line, but he has to not rush it. He has to time it just perfectly, like Breeze. Be like Breeze. Andy Dalton needs to be like Breeze. Now, that is a lot to ask for in your quarterback, but I think it can be done because, played pretty great last week. Anyway, if we get Taysom involved, that dynamic duo seemed to really work. So, speaking of the 49ers, they haven't allowed a single 100-yard rusher as of yet. So maybe that won't be our key to success. But throwing in Taysom in the mix might help. So this could be a game where Olave and Jarvis and Johnson could have big games. I don't know which one, but one of them could, because they give up some yards to receivers. So either way, they have a great squad on defense. This Hufanga kid is getting a lot of attention. Nick Bosa's pretty good, although he gets bad attention. But either way, decent front, decent squad. But speaking of defense, here's what we need to do. Obviously, we have to contain that beautiful man, that beautiful, beautiful beast. That should be our top priority. Making him super uncomfortable in the pocket, putting pressure, make sure he doesn't get outside of that by making a huge play downfield. I don't know how many times this needs to be said, but interceptions and fumbles. Interceptions and fumbles is what we need. That would be great in this game. Not that I'm predicting it, but it would be nice. We cannot allow Jimmy G to get like 4 touchdowns, or, unless we keep up with that, but I sincerely doubt that. Containing McCafe, obviously is another thing, as he's kind of finding his groove with this team. Not overly concerned, because this is McCaffrey, and we've played McCaffrey time and time again, so this isn't a new guy, it's a familiar face. They got great receivers. I'm not sure about Debo. I read that Debo may or may not play, but they got Debo. If Lattimore plays, it'll be kind of a cool matchup to see. Again, so I don't know if either are going to play, but if they did, I'd like to see that. They got Ayuk, who can make some plays. Kittle, who again is, a great tight end, and we're pretty great at containing the tight end. But Kittle is a different story. He's like, as I mentioned, I know some people would probably say not even, but he's kind of like Travis Kelce. Not as great as Travis Kelce, but he's pretty good. So he's on another level of, a lot of the tight ends that we've played this year. So he's somebody I might be a little concerned about, but we'll see. We'll see who is the better matchup, George Kittle or the Saints defense. We'll see. Again, hoping that Cam gets back soon. I mean, even if he has to wear an eye patch, hopefully he'll be out there, which I know some people are not happy about that, I try to make light of bad situations, so hopefully I didn't mean any disrespect for what I said last week. I meant it comically, and if Pete Werner gets back, that would be a great addition. So, I don't think it's impossible to beat the Niners, but I do think it's going to be an uphill battle. I think it's going to be a struggle. And it's going to be a challenge. And I'd say we probably need about 20-25 points to beat this team. But, any given Sunday, so again, what's my rule? Play smart, play clean, no stupid penalties, and play efficiently, and we can win this game. So as I mentioned, division is still open. So we're not out of it yet. So there's that. We have that going for us. And if we could get this win, we'll be right in the mix, depending on how the other teams do, because I don't think any teams have buys. So depending on how everybody else in the South does, who knows? So I think that is really all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Queen94. I am also on Twitter. You can follow me there under the name Olave the Saint Savior, because I do think that, since we have no Michael Thomas. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, that's okay. No worries. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd much appreciate it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and go Saints! Who dat, baby? Okay, bye-bye.